Look, Chris Evans has always been, to me, a very likable guy. You know, he always does get really political on his Twitter timeline, and he's very critical of President Trump. And I feel like recently he said some things that maybe he regrets a little bit about his good friend Tom Brady, saying that, you know, he may have to cut ties with him over Tom's support of President Trump. This is really cool, however. This week, in what I would see as a change of heart, he announced something completely different, a new website, a new platform to allow everyone a way to kind of step outside of our echo chambers and approach political issues from both sides of the political fence. He's calling it a starting point. I'll let him actually tell you, just really quickly in this short video, what his project is all about. I'm going to go ahead and just start with this.
We're not trying to shortchange it either. We're trying to say, okay, here's the way in, and then here are the resources to go if you want to know further why this person feels this way and where that information comes from.
And for every question, we're going to try and get the Republican and Democratic response. So you could, for someone who knows nothing about a certain issue, you can come and hear both sides.
I think it's such a great idea to try to sort of demystify some of these policy issues so people feel like, oh, I can't even think about that because I'm not an expert.
Exactly. This should be just a one-stop shop for simple, digestible information from the people who know best. So the first question is just a basic get-to-know-you question, and there's no rush on this one. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first question, what inspired you to get into politics in the first place?
I got into politics because I wanted to help people.
Bigger diversity of voices.
Impact.
Climate change.
Veterans issues.
My grandparents immigrated to this country.
I was a college Republican.
Seen my tuition go up and up and up.
To take action and not just stand on the sidelines.
Hi, I'm Chris Evans. If you're watching this, I hope you'll consider contributing to my new civics engagement project called The Starting Point. It's a website designed to provide succinct answers to common questions by presenting both the Democratic and Republican point of view on dozens of issues across the political landscape. If you choose to participate, we'll send you a list of questions. You choose the questions you want to answer. Our only request is that you try to keep your answers to about a minute. At the end of your response, we'll attach 2 or 3 links that you provide. That way, if someone responds to what you have to say, they know where to go to continue their education on that issue. I want to make it clear that this website has nothing to do with my political opinion. It's not about my political opinion. This is about yours. This is a chance for you to talk about the issues that matter to you.
I believe in trade. I think it's absolutely important for the economy. But I do believe it has to be fair.
Why not have the same standard that we have in our military to take care of our veterans when they come home?
How we can work with other nations to address what is happening to our oceans.
Making sure that people have access to the ballot box, that they're able to get registered, that their votes are counted.
2 things that are critically important for our energy infrastructure. One, it has to be affordable and it has to be reliable.
We hope you'll consider being a part of this site. It's a chance not just to galvanize your base, but you might change some minds.
Wow. Okay. I'm just going to pause it there, and that's going to be it for showing Chris Evans. Again, wow. I really am actually taken aback by this, to be perfectly honest with you. This is something that matters to me, you know. I look at the media and how they divide people, and I look at the problem with journalistic integrity today. And it really touches me in a dark place, because I see just not too short back, people actually were, about 10 years ago, responding to each other in kind and actually having conversations, you know. I have so many friends who were open to conversations just 5 short years ago that have completely shut themselves off and refused to speak to anyone from across the aisle. And a lot of these folks know that I'm neither a Republican or a Democrat, and that I share a lot of their own views. And I think that's why people feel more comfortable talking to me about their problems with the other side, so to speak. Because I really am what I would consider to be a centrist on a lot of issues. This is really cool to me, and a lot of people are actually not responding in a positive way. I'll tell you, this is a big problem. You see, I really do consider that these journalists today are actually simply activists that want to promote the same echo chamber that they're stuck in. This is by Justin Ray. It is an article right here with Columbia Journalism Review. I don't know much about this publication, but they do seem to be very leftist. So he says... This gentleman says, he goes on. He explains what this all is, but this is his own take, his own opinion on it. Justin Ray says, from the outset, the launch date is unknown. A starting point appears to be what he calls a ham-fisted effort that might boost misinformation and partisanship. He says, on the surface, there's something appealing about this. It's good to be exposed to ideas beyond our filter bubbles, but there's also a real risk of giving equal weight to concepts and arguments that shouldn't be equated. Margaret Sullivan, media critic for The Washington Post, of course that's from The Washington Post. She says, are we going to hear both sides of voter suppression, for example? Both sides of the need for drastic action on climate change? Here's the problem. Here's the problem. These individuals that are writing these articles that are supposed to be journalistic, they're just op-ed pieces, opinion, editorial pieces that don't actually give facts. They don't actually give both sides. They don't want both sides. It's clearly obvious. They equated this back, again, to the Charlottesville murder. It's absolutely sick to equate that. Listen, this person's being very critical of Chris Evans wanting to open up a conversation. Conversation is very important. I don't want everyone to be a centrist. I want everyone to be able to listen to the opinions of other people and be respectful to those opinions and simply have a conversation. Even if it does turn into an argument, we can still be respectful of each other and we can actually inform ourselves. I had some things to say about this to Chris Evans. I'm inspired by this, ladies and gentlemen. I really am. The cat's out of the bag, Chris Evans says. Thank you to everyone who has already participated. I think that's great. And I think it's great that he's doing this. I just posted this a minute ago. Thank you, Chris, for doing this. I am neither a Democrat or Republican, and I hold views from both sides of the aisle that are very important to me. I discovered my ideals by taking the time to inform myself and make up my own mind about things. You are doing a great thing here. The problem is that a lot of individuals don't feel like it's good to approach situations from both sides, to explore all of the possibilities, to get different opinions. A lot of folks do want to be trapped in an echo chamber. And one of my favorite small publications, Bounding into Comics, has published a small piece giving what other people's opinions are on Twitter from both sides of the aisle. And again, at the very beginning here, you see these people do want to be trapped in their echo chamber. This individual saying, is this a good idea though? When some issues can have two sides, many don't. We don't need to hear why poor people don't deserve health care, and we don't need to hear from the white supremacists in Congress or anywhere else. Well, here's the thing. If you looked a little bit deeper, you would see that what we actually want is we don't want the redistribution of wealth. We don't want people to be held at gunpoint, to have their money taken from them and given to other people who never earned it to begin with. And that's the other side of that argument. Dan Arrow, who I have no idea who you are in an echo chamber. Then you have another individual saying ... K. But a lot of things don't have two sides, so not sure how this is going to work. Kristen, everything does have two sides, and just because you're in an echo chamber doesn't mean that everyone else is. These folks go on. I know you're getting inundated with comments on this thread right now, but why talk to representatives rather than experts on these topics, like economics, scientists, and I don't know, just the people these issues affect? I think that we could talk to all of those people. We could talk to economicists, scientists, and politicians as well. Again, of course, politicians are going to be slanted, but it's nice to hear what they have to say and to have a platform where everyone can come together and express those thoughts and opinions. I'm skeptical that it will be both sides, but I wish you good luck. I'm actually a little bit skeptical as well. I see that mostly in the mass media we see a leaning left bias for the most part. It's come up specifically in Tim Pool's reporting. You know, he is a Bernie supporter. He is a socialist and a leftist and an anti-war advocate. Yet he actually covers some important things, like conservatives being blacklisted, like conservatives being called Nazis, like people targeting and censoring conservative voices in the media. He talks about this, even though he's not a Trump supporter and dislikes Trump very much, Tim Pool does. This person, thanks for solving America's problems, a real-life superhero, not. Again, those individuals are all really, really the same guys that want an echo chamber. I think it's sad to see that, but here's what's great. You do see this. Chris, you've played a hero on the big screen, but more importantly, you're a hero in real life. Thank you. We do see individuals that are praising this, that have a good opinion about it, that really think it'll be a really good way for people to meet and talk about their issues and the issues that are going on in America and how we're so divided and how that actually came to pass. And I believe that it was the media's fault. This individual here says, this is amazing and a good use of your platform and passion for speaking out in what you believe in. So rare that you find something politically related that presents both sides and then asks you to judge for yourself. That's absolutely true, and I agree with that completely. There is a shortage of these things where we can actually have these kinds of conversations. And I cannot wait to see how this develops and what comes from it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Please, leave a comment below and let me know. I'd love for you to subscribe and join in the conversation and just kind of talk with me about these things. I mostly discuss geek culture. I'm a comic book writer, and I'm getting really close to my final edited script, so I can send it away to a professional editor, and then I'll be looking for an artist very soon. I hope that you'll join me on that quest. I support the indie comics community, and you see, just like this, like I said, journalistic integrity is lacking right now. In our comics indie movement right now, called Comicsgate, you see a bunch of shill media activists who aren't actually journalists. And what they're doing is they're writing hit pieces about our indie movement, calling us Nazis and a hate group. Being mostly liberal myself, I'd have to say that I'm definitely far from a Nazi and far from a hate group. But those are the kinds of divisive language people use when they want to pin some ist or phobe or any kind of other bigoted blanket statement onto somebody. They're doing it actually to the president right now. And it happens all the time these days. Hey guys, I'm Chase. You're the gateway into comics. See you on the next video.